you don't have a friend that isn't Tamar, then you need to be that friend.
Yeah.
You need to be a Tamar. And so it's really nice to get to play a type of person who we all need in our lives.
Hello, folks. This is actually really exciting. The person that I have on today, some of you will know her through a very popular series that's growing right now. It's amazing. It's well produced, just incredible acting. And I wanted to combine both her traveling experiences as well as her creativity through acting. So thank you so much, Amber Shana Williams, for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for fans of the show. I'm really excited.
Yeah. All right. So how long have you been an actress?
I think I started to dabble around 2010, which would make it 11 years. But as far as that being my main goal and taking it really seriously, that was about 2014. So what's this, 11, math, 8 years as a full-time actor, yeah.
Yeah, okay, great. So why did you choose to be an actress? Why did you choose this field?
Honestly, most actors would tell you that they didn't choose it, it kind of chooses them. But I went to college, did everything, nursing, corporate, executive assistant, marketing, like all of this stuff. And I always wanted to be an actor, but you're always told, a lot of the time, not always, but a lot of people are told growing up that they need to pick a real career. You need to be something like a doctor, a lawyer, somebody with substance, an accountant, things like this. So that's what I went forward thinking. And I was like, well, I'll be a nurse like my mom because kind of have a head start. And I did all that and I was super unhappy. And then I lost someone very, very close to me. And kind of one of the last things that they said to me was like, do what it is that you want to do with your life, because I've worked hard enough for you to be able to. It was my grandpa. And so, you have to think of what my grandpa was older than all the other people's grandparents. He was old enough to be their dad. So he was here in 1920s and 1918,
Wow.
And so he was there through all the things that we couldn't do in the States. And so he's like, I worked darn hard for you to be able to do whatever it is you want, to go do it. So I left everything behind, quit my job. I didn't know what I was going to do next, but here I am.
Wow, that's so inspiring. I love the fact that he said that to you. Wow, he sounded like a really wise person.
He was wise.
And where are you located now?
Yeah, so I'm in Madrid, so probably neighbors, who knows. I'm in Madrid, and I've been here for over 4 years now. But I still live between Spain and the US because of work. And of course, minus COVID, because that was the longest I've been in Spain, straight. So yeah, I am in Madrid right now.
Okay, yeah. And I wanted to ask you about that because I know that you also work in the US, because the big show we're going to talk about later is based in the US. So yes. I wanted to ask, how do you navigate traveling, between countries and working?
Well, before, it wasn't really difficult. You buy a ticket, hop on a plane, and you get to where you have to go. After COVID, I guess we call them COVID times now, it's a bit of a challenge because, you have to get your PCR test and you have to make sure there aren't any quarantines. If there are quarantines, you have to fly in early for something, and things are always changing. But I've kind of, ever since 2015, I've kind of lived my life on the road because of the type of jobs that I've had. And so I'm really accustomed to hopping on a flight every few weeks. And that's usually between cross-continental. So that's usually between the US and Spain, every 5 to 6 weeks. Since 2015, I was just and all around the US. And so I was actually more accustomed to sleeping in a hotel bed than my own for a while.
Sounds like an intense life.
Yeah. And, it kind of helps that I don't have kids right now, because I'm sure if I did, it'd just be really hard on them. And then, of course, me as a mom, And so I don't plan anytime soon anyway to make that, next step. But it is, you get homesick sometimes, but then when you're home for a long time, you get like travel sick. I don't know. Is that a word?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Like you miss the outdoors. You miss what you're used to, which is like exploring, right?
Yeah. You miss just finding something new. You miss somebody else cleaning up your room. You miss you're right. You miss exploring and seeing your travel friends or travel family. Yes. And so it was great at first. I'm not gonna say it was great, but at the beginning of the mandatory quarantine we all had last year, I kind of thrived because although I'm an ambivert, I lean more towards the introverted side. So I'm totally comfortable being in the house. I don't need to leave. I don't need to go anywhere. I don't need to. I can just be in the house and be okay. And that was great. And then I was like, gosh, I haven't left in a really long time. I miss seeing people in the world. And so it kind of flipped. And I'm really happy we kind of get the chance to now. Hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah, I'm grateful for it too because, I came here to explore and being in the house for a while, being mandatory and not being able to leave except for, necessary things. It was hard.
Yeah, so you're here for 2 years and like a year and a half of that was in quarantine.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
It was weird. I was like wondering at one point, wait, what am I doing here? At one point. But everything works for a reason, thankfully.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. Which is actually interesting because I think I started this interview show during the quarantine or a little bit after because I wanted to start getting more of a perspective from other people who travel because I feel like there's a wealth of knowledge that can be gained when you're traveling and for different reasons. Like for you, for instance, you're acting and you're also here in Spain for another reason. So what is that?
Oh, well, I always say people move cross country or internationally for one or two things. It's either work or it's love or some combination of the two. So I initially moved here for love and it worked out for me.
Oh, congrats.
I'm still here. That was the initial reason that I came to Spain.
You were working on the multi-series show, The Chosen, right? Talking about the life of Jesus as well as his followers, which is a big deal because I love the heart of the show, talking about the human experiences of those that, what they believe would be the human experiences of those who are around Jesus. And let me tell you something. When I saw you in the episode that you
Indescribable Passion, episode 6.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Look, first of all, I was blown away by your beauty, but at the same time, definitely beautiful. But at the same time, how fierce and passionate you were for your friend, but at the same time, soft-hearted and just loving. It was like a great combination.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. So I was just inspired, and also, honestly, because of the diversity. A lot of the time in faith-based films, especially in the past, you don't really see people who look like us.
You really don't.
Yeah, and when I saw you, and the history was accurate as well because you play a lady from Ethiopia, Tamar.
Who grew up in Egypt, yeah.
Right. So the history is accurate, but at the same time, it shows how should I say, it was still multinational or international because there were people around that time who would have interacted with Jesus who were from different nations.
Right. I mean, it's the same here. Like you're here in Spain.
Yes.
we took a flight to get here instead of a boat or instead of walking, but you're here. And it's the same back then, especially because she was in Capernaum, which was a port town, where the boats would come in. So if you're going to be anywhere, you're especially as an international, just like California, just like Florida, just like Barcelona. Barcelona is one of the most international cities in Spain, and it's one of the reasons because it is a port town. It is right there on the coast, and that attracts a lot of people. And so I really like that they had diverse cast. Like the majority of all the cast is of ethnic descent, whether it's from the Middle East or Latin America or African descent or Egyptian. And she's like, oh, thank goodness, because because can you imagine all the flack we get if it wasn't so blended like this? And so they did a really good job with that, and I was really lucky that they brought me back more than once too, so I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, and they just ended the series, and we got to see you, no spoilers because people are seeing it now, that you are actually a part of the followers.
Yeah, so that call came and shocked the heck out of me, and I was like, me? Like, because she was supposed to come in, go out, bam. And that was that. And they were like, no, we need her again. And I was just really excited because, even though there are Tamars in the Bible, just like there are multiple Jesuses, people were named Jesus at this time, just like there are multiple Josephs and James, Big James, Little James, like people had these names, right?
Yes.
So there were more than one Tamar in the Bible, and who knows, there were other people named Tamar. So even though she specifically was not named as who she's portrayed in the show, there were tons and tons of Tamars that lived in that time. And I'm glad that they chose me to be able to represent the type of person that she was. Like you said, like just a wonderful friend. I always say, like, if you don't have a friend that isn't Tamar, then you need to be that friend.
Yeah.
You need to be a Tamar. And so it's really nice to get to play a type of person who we all need in our lives.
Yes.
And I think it's easily overlooked because we like, especially individual and I don't want to say egocentric, but just like we're really focused on our own paths. And like, I gotta get there, do it on my own, I gotta get there. And then you realize, okay, I can't always do this alone. Like, you need to have a squad, you need to have a tribe. And
yes.
You need to make sure that the tribe that you have is there to make you better. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Surround yourself with people who want the best for you, people who want you to win, people who truly love you, people who want you healed. Like, and so it was just really nice to be able to play that, and a character with like so many places she can be. And it was I'm not without any spoilers. It was really nice for season 8 to see Tamar smile for a bit.
Yeah.
And joke around because she'd always been so tense, like her face was like, and then just to have this moment of where she can just be, calm.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Yeah, to be a lady like she is, and you can tell that she is because she's so classy with her style.
Listen, I mean, it was like she wakes up and she already is getting her things together, her head wrap on. I was like, y'all, when are we gonna take this off? Because because we don't always wake up and do all of this. And they were like, well, Tamar does, at least for now. So I like had to beg for me not to wear that corset. I was like, please, I had lunch, I couldn't fit anything in here right now. But yeah, she's on it. She is on it, and she's up, and she's passionate, and we could all learn something from her.
Yeah, I agree. We definitely could. And I'm happy that we got to see her some more. It was amazing. And you mentioned that a lot of the cast, they're international. So what is that like working with such a diverse cast?
It's a relief. And to put it bluntly, because especially working here in Spain, you're often one of the only diverse hires on set. I feel like often it's still a little bit behind. I think because in the States, we've fought so long to be accepted as equals, right. And that we've been there for so long that it's not uncommon to see, a Black doctor or a Black lawyer or, a Black reporter and all of these things where you just see us speckled everywhere, right? Here, you have to remember that the country wasn't really even open until the 80s. Yes. And so it's like far behind in people being here. So a lot of us are first generation immigrants and maybe second generation, internet, multicultural, because maybe a Spanish mom or a Spanish dad,
Right.
And so it's still not as common to see us in positions other than students or maybe a teacher or maybe just like the few other jobs that you don't often see us doing journalism or being doctors or being lawyers here. But it's a slow but steady kind of pace. So I'm just hoping that changes over the next, 14 years, but for sure, I'm hoping that changes because that's going to open up doors to be providing more narratives for people that look like you and me.
Right.
So right now the narrative is I've come from this war-torn country here for safety, and I can only get a job teaching English or watching your kids, and that's your story. Yeah. Your trauma is your story. When in fact, we have everyday lives. We fall in love. We go to school. These are the type of narratives that we want to show. And often I don't get a chance to tell those type of narratives when I'm here. When I'm here, I'm usually the American. I'm a reporter. I'm a presenter. I'm doing something like this. I'm a transplant or something, or an extranjera. And it's a little exhausting, but I know I have to be patient in this game. So this is why I often work in the States or wherever else, because they're looking for people that look like us all the time.
Yeah, there are more options there. I really like your heart though, like in being patient and wanting to see the change and working along with it.
Girl, that is like the virtue that I need to work on the hardest. So I say that, but it's actually one of the most difficult things for me is to be patient. And I'm definitely a work in progress on that, because it's like the only thing you can do other than be patient is to stress about something. And is that going to help anything?
Yeah.
Not really. So if there's nothing you can do about it, then you need to be focusing on what you can do and what ripples in the water that you can make. And even if it starts at the smallest level, and sometimes I'm sure they're sick of me when they come here and they're like, oh yeah, we want Amber to be a part of this. And I'm like, cool. Okay, but you're going to treat me fairly. You're going to pay me fairly. And you're going to keep in mind that I'm not going to do anything that's going to make the rest of my culture look bad.
Right.
And when I do that, sometimes you're like, that's not normal for people to be so exigente, which means like demanding. It's like, it's not demanding. That's like basic, very like the minimum that
dignity.
You should be doing, right? And the thing is, the great thing is that it always happens.
Okay.
But I have to, as a woman, and you understand that we always kind of get that label of we have to keep quiet and kind of, just sit back and not make too much noise because we labeled, difficult or like this. It's like, it's beyond that, because now every decision that you make, you are like, you have to be like the spokesperson for your entire country or your entire culture. It's a lot of pressure. And so I'm not going to come in here and let you or let anyone put their foot on my culture, put their foot on people that look like us. And if that's going to be a difficult pill to swallow, then we go on to the place that celebrates us and not tolerates us.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow. So true, because it's bigger than us. It's not just me being here. You are representing, especially because we're so in the representation of us is so small right now. It's a bigger effect because right now they see you, man.
Exactly. Exactly. There's like one really successful, so sad. There's like one really successful Black actress in Spain. And her name is Berta Vasquez, right? I went to an event one day and everyone was like, are you Berta Vasquez? I was like, what? We look like two totally different people. Just asking if Queen Latifah and Viola Davis are the same person. They're clearly and obviously not the same person, but that's how thirsty they are for diversity here, is that the one person who has been more or less successful in their career that kind of look like us is the one person that people thought I was. And I was just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
No, I'm just laughing because no one would mistake me for Beyonce when I go home. Nobody mistakes me.
That would be cool,
I
though.
would like them too.
Mm-hmm. Right? I know, right? Yes, that would be cool. But yeah, back home, that wouldn't happen because there's more knowledge. It's your home.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I've learned a lot being here as well in terms of the perception of people on like people of African descent. Sometimes it's just terrible. Sometimes. I've had to process a lot because being home in Jamaica where we are the dominant, I don't have to worry about things like that ever. We have different issues like colorism, but in terms of like specifically against people of African descent, not really. So I've had to really like process, talk to people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I mean, but you have to, there's an extent to how much you should be having to educate someone because you really shouldn't have to.
Yes, true.
With internet and with Instagram, and you can so easily learn this is not appropriate. And so it's exhausting, but yeah, to people of African descent across the board, it's a challenge. And I think for the planet, like globally, people's basis for measuring racism is America. And so they feel that, if we're not doing it the way that they're doing it, and it's not, because the things that are in the news over there, if it's not like this, then we don't have it.
Yeah, right. Yes. I heard someone say it like that, like, racism isn't here because it's not like in the States. And I'm like,
yeah, like, is that your basis of comparison for racism?
Yeah, like, you don't know what I've been through.
I've had to definitely educate some people, and they still do blackface here. Yeah,
they do. Yeah, especially during such a wonderful holiday like Christmas there and New Year's, they're doing that, and I'm like,
yes, they are, and they do it for Halloween too, and it's just like. You have to just kind of breathe in deeply. And the crazy thing is that you and I, because it's not a privilege, but it's kind of more of a prejudice, is that once, let's say someone has a problem with us or something happens and we're there, and because this is something you have to think about when you travel, because it's really sad that for you and me, we have to make sure we look how racist the country is. Like, what is a palatable racism for this country? Oh, it's just a little bit of racism. All right, I'll go. So here, once let's say you have an issue, once someone realizes that you're from North America, they're like, okay, well, you're one of the cool ones. Like, carry on.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Now you tell them you're from Senegal, you tell them you're from Belize or Colombia, and they're like,
yeah.
We get treated slightly different just because we're from North America, and I don't really take that well because we're diaspora, and it's like, even though some of us are in Brazil, some of us are in Jamaica, some of us are in the U.S., a lot of us don't know the first place where we come from, and we could very much be cousins and family. Like, that's how we have to all look at each other. It's like, this is all us. This is all. The lost children, and so you're not going to treat me differently than her because I come from the U.S.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
I get that a lot. I get that. It's true. I do think about that. Like, when I will experience racism, I'm like, okay, it hurts, but at the same time, because of where I come from, I'm like, I have the basis that I understand my dignity and my rights. Not saying other people don't, but I never had to struggle with that before. So what my point is that now I can like understand what other people who are really here because they have no other options, or they are refugees, how much worse it is for them. Like, I can go back home. I can go back to my comfort, but they can't really. Yeah. So that just gives me a heart for like, I don't like this because these people, they are here, and I want it to be better, even for them, for me too, but most especially for them.
Exactly. exactly. And I think traveling, it should, in my opinion, humble the people that do it. Because if you ever traveled, and I don't mean 5-star traveling, because when I was younger, I thought that was traveling, is going to some place and getting a nice expensive hotel and staying in the same city, you know what I mean, for the whole trip and whatever. That's not what traveling is. When you truly travel and you go somewhere and you live among the people and you immerse yourself in the culture, it should change who you are. And you should realize that a border really means nothing at the end of the day, because they're human and they're a man-made construct. And you're like, gosh, this person is like just like me. I know, living in the States, I'm from Texas, and we have a really big Mexican, Chicano, Tejano. We have a big population of Latin Americans. And they're not often treated very nicely. You might have seen, hey, speak English here or something like things that are thrown at them out there. And I mean, I grew up with it, and I've always, empathized with whatever they went through, because it's kind of like similar to the Black experience. However, I didn't truly understand. I empathized, but I didn't truly understand until I became the immigrant. Until I left my place of comfort and was dropped into this entire new culture, who did not speak my language, who did not grow up the way I did. And it was really, really, really hard. And I gained a new respect for someone being an immigrant and leaving their life behind and going somewhere, because it's hard, it's scary. And then sometimes the people that are there don't make it any easier. I remember one of my first audition that I had here, and you might have seen the video, like parody that I made on my page, where I went and I was so excited for my first audition, because I hadn't acted for like months because I didn't think I could. And I went on my first audition. I'm here, I'm dressed up, and I'm ready to go. It's like a commercial or something. And then the lady starts talking to the other actors, and she's talking so fast in Spanish. And I was like, whoa. I thought my little Spanish was enough to get me through this, and it was not. And so when it was my turn, and I had a habit of being first in line, because psychology dictates that when you're first and when you're last, you stick in the minds of the people the most when you're the first person or the last person. So I'm always either first or I'm last. And so I come in and I get there, and she starts talking to me, and I'm like, in Spanish, I say, could you repeat that? Or is it fine if I say it in English, because I don't really understand? She goes, oh wow, you're in Spain, you should be speaking Spanish. What is wrong with you? Is there anybody here that can speak English with this girl? And she's saying all this in Spanish. And girl, I was like I cried so much when I left there. But then it's like, the first thing that came to mind is, how many people go through that back home where I am?
Right. In the flip kind of in Spanish.
Or anywhere. They come from Russia or India or anything, and they come here trying to start a life, trying to be a productive member of society. And you get this like don't belong kind of feeling, and it makes you want to kind of go inside. But so I think the more that you travel, the more that you are humbled, the more you respect the struggle that people go through, like you said, that's more important for the people that are here, because they don't have much of a choice.
Right.
And it's like you respect them. You respect the immigrant, because in the States, it's like, speak English. And you're like, but I know Spanish too, and I know French too. And they're just like, speak English. So if you're of a lower income and you speak multiple languages, maybe not all of them perfectly, but you speak multiple languages.
Right.
A big, impressive thing. Like,
it is.
Like, here in Spain, if you don't know at least 3, you're kind of like,
Yeah, right. Many Europeans, I'm impressed. They know many languages.
So many. Like, I have so many friends who speak at least 4 or 5 minimum.
Right.
Like, well. That's not including the ones that don't even speak well. So it's just like, I'm struggling with 2.
Exactly. I mean, yes, you can know a lot in your country, but when you get to know other people internationally, it just opens your eyes a lot. And perhaps someone who's watching now, they can't necessarily travel. That's fine. You can get to know people on the internet or somewhere, or maybe someone in your own country who have immigrated, because that's really common right now. You can get to know them and their culture, and I believe it's beautiful.
It is. It's really beautiful. And as difficult as the past year has been, it's shown us how connected we can be.
Yes.
And how incredibly useful being connected even virtually is.
Yeah.
And like I've literally been taking classes in London, you know, and I'm able to keep closer with my friends that live in LA and my friends in Australia. And it's just like, you know, wow, like this was here all along. And, you know, we weren't really appreciating it or using it to its full potential. And now we are. And we're seeing like how different things can be. And it is beautiful, like you said.
What special memory do you have from working on The Chosen?
Oh my gosh, there's so many special. Because I have some funny ones too. Special, I think. Actually, it's so crazy because all of the actors, a lot of their special memories are often connected to Jonathan, and somehow Jonathan Roumie, who plays Jesus, of course, the main character in the show. Jonathan, I think it was my first day on set. Girl, they threw me into like the most emotional scene right away, and I was like, crap! I hope I can do this. And for those who've seen the series, it was the part where Tamar's on the roof. And like before we go, I hadn't really met anyone yet, you know, just hair and makeup and that's it. And Jonathan, he pulls me to the side and he's just like, he gets my hands. I'm like, who is this guy? And he looks me in my eyes and he goes, thank you. I love you. And I was just, because I honestly was just like, what's happening here? Like, what is stick my hands? And then as soon as he said that, I just started crying. I was just like, oh, I love you too. Like, I don't even know. Like, and it was really beautiful and it was so special. And it really put me in the place that I needed to be to go and do that scene afterwards. In order to be and felt how she really felt. And the passion that she had, he really, he gives so much of himself. And so it was kind of like he did that for me. Because like if he can't get there, like he'll be like, I need, like Dallas, like I need set to be quiet. I need everything to just, because I need to connect with her. And he just stops everything just so that he can connect with you. Wow. So you can get the most authentic, the most heartfelt reaction, you know, and it was pretty special for me. And that was like my first scene. And so I was really nervous. And then after that, it was just like, yeah, because I think acting looks really easy to people sometimes. You think you just pretend. And it's so much more than that because you can always tell when an actor pretends. You're like, oh, I didn't really like that. Often to get to the places we need to go, it's kind of like, you have to open yourself up. Now there's different methods, and I'm not going to get into all the methods, but there's so many different methods of acting. Yeah. Some of them really require you to just really put yourself in the place of the character. Like, you know, you've probably heard of actors just, they have to play, I don't know, Jack the Ripper, and so they act like Jack the Ripper all the time. Or, you know, Will Smith, I think, is a method actor. And then you have type of methodologies that say, okay, what you need to do is use your own life experience and relate it to their life experience. So you find some common ground, opens up this door between the two of you, and you can move forward. This is pretty effective, but it's also kind of dangerous. And you've also probably heard of actors like this, where they, after they're done shooting, they have to go to therapy because they can't differentiate the two anymore. Wow. Who's the character, who's me? And then there's just so many different types. And I think Jonathan, and I think a lot of the actors there, like they're able to find some really beautiful common ground between like all of these methods. Everyone's bringing something different from a different school of thought. And I know for sure in that moment, it connected me with her, and it put me in her shoes, and I just wanted to be around him. I needed him in that moment, and it was really beautiful. And I know that he's done that with so many. You talk to them all, and they're all going to give you a Jonathan story, probably pretty similar to that one. And it's really sweet, it's really beautiful, and I think it shows on screen.
Oh yeah, I can feel the emotion from the show, you know, like I literally just feel how intense it is, how, you know, vulnerable people are, especially in that time. And yeah, I guess like whatever is happening in the background is working. Not even I guess, you can see it is.
It's like on The Chosen, you may have characters that are on there for a short period of time, or maybe just an episode, or maybe for a few minutes. Mm-hmm. Nobody is treated like they're less just because they're not on screen or they're not a main character. And that's one of the most incredible things, is that you're on screen, like the character that plays Ethan, and a lot of people don't know him as Ethan. Ethan is formerly known as the paralytic. The actor's name is Noe, and even though he literally said, you know, just a few phrases in episode 1, the performance was palpable, right? You're looking at him, like when that toe moves, you're like,
yes, he's walking, he's getting there.
Right. It was so moving. So even just the characters with the shortest time on the show to the longest time, it's all just as affects you just as much. And The Chosen works really hard to get the right people to play these parts.
Yeah.
And so it's something I appreciate.
And I am so moved. I am really moved because I know that I'm not the only one who thinks like this. I've spoken to friends who are just amazed with how a faith-based film like this not okay with anything just being mediocre. And that just inspires me, even as a person, like a Christian, that I have talents and I can't just be throwing things out there. I mean, yes, there's growth needed. So, you know, I can try my best right now. But the thing is, just do my best and not just be like, oh, yeah, whatever. You know, God loves it. I'm doing it for God. No. This is going to impact the world. This is to inspire people. So whatever I'm doing, just bring it. So I've been really inspired by all of this. Truly.
I think that is a standard that we should all live by. It's definitely one of my mottos, is that, you know, why be mediocre, you know, when you can be great? Like, you know, God isn't mediocre with you, right?
Yeah.
So, right. I think that when we put things out there, that we should put things out there with, you know, and not haphazardly. That is something that they do, and it is something that's pretty inspiring to me. And that goes for everybody that you see on and off screen. And I try to live by that in my life as well. And I try to live by faith, not by sight, because if it was by sight, I wouldn't do anything. I would not. I have, you know, some anxiety, and I also have just a really cautious person. And if I just lived in that spirit all the time, and I never stepped out on faith, I literally wouldn't be doing 99% of the things that I'm doing now, and I wouldn't have had the experience. When you have to choose between doing what's safe, step out on faith, because that's where all the magic happens. That's where all the beautiful things lie, is in the things that, because imagine how many people are stepping out. Not many, to be honest. Not many people are stepping out on faith. Sure. They did, the work be a lot different place. And so that is the road less traveled. So you come here and you're like, okay, this is predictable. This is safe. I'm comfortable here. This is scaring me, but I really want to go. Like, something's calling me, you know, that's the spirit. It's calling me here, but this is safe. Are you sure? No, I don't think do it. Yeah. Because we're all going to leave this earth one day.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the rhetoric that we're told back home is that work now, so you can enjoy later.
Yeah.
You know? Don't take any unnecessary risk, you know, like, and it's just like, That may have been true at some point in time for survival reasons.
Yeah.
But now we're in this place where it's like, you don't know if tomorrow is going to be here for you. I don't know if it's going to be here for me.
Mm-hmm.
I work so hard, and to not live it now, and to not take the risk now, and to not live and breathe in that moment and step in that faith and do something that scares you. Because guess what? If you do see tomorrow, you can start over again then. If it doesn't work out for you today, if you're like, oh girl, Spain was awful. Like, imagine you felt like you came here, like, I just can't do this. You can go home tomorrow, but you did it.
Yeah.
And not many people can say they did it. And you're like, you know what? Tomorrow I want to go to China. And now you're off to China.
Mm-hmm.
Places we saw in textbooks as children. I had family members who never even left the state, you know, who left the country. And it's just like, I don't judge them for that, because it takes a certain amount of faith to overcome that fear. But it's something that I was blessed with mostly. I would like to thank my mom, because I was not like this, sis. I wasn't. My mom's in the military. She's excuse my language. My mom is pretty badass. And the first place she went was like, we moved to Vegas, and then we moved to Germany. And when we did that, I was like, no, I can't. You're going to move to another country that I haven't even left the country before? You want me to move to another country?
Another continent? Oh, wow.
Another continent, another culture, all these other languages. Little old Dallas girl, little old me. And I was country too, girl. I was talking like this all the time because I ain't never been nowhere.
Hey.
And I think I stayed the first year.
Okay.
I was like, oof. And then I just started thinking, like, because she's like one of my heroes. Like, after my grandpa was like my mom, I was just like, if she can do it, and she's had a rough life, you know, if she can do it, I can do it. I always I copycat my mom. I'm still like a little kid. She's eating something. Can I have some? Like, I'm like, I'm still this way. I'll crawl in bed with her. So she did it. I could do it too. And so the next year, so I stayed behind here. I went to be there, and I was like, wow, these are people just like me. And that's the thing that you don't know until you go there, because you read in the book and you're like, Germans talk like this, you know? Yeah, and you're just like, you know, there's these angry people and World War II, and it's just like, oh my gosh, right?
Right.
And you go there like, oh my gosh, it's not like this at all. Like, people are pretty great, and everything was normal. Like, with all the things that make us different, there's 10 times as much that make us the same.
Sure.
And I think that's the biggest fallacy, is that we're all so different, because we really aren't. And I went there and I was like, this is pretty great. And I was scared for my first look. What about this guy? I'm gonna be eaten by sharks. And I was like, oh, I learned it. And then I did it again.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and then I did it again. Then we moved back, and I was like, dang, kind of miss it, right? And then I got this really great job a few years later that I traveled all over the country. Like, I was all over the country, a different city every week, every few days. And I was like, this is amazing. Then it started intercontinental, and then through different countries, especially after I met my fiance, because he taught me how to travel. He's like, oh, we don't do 5-star hotels here. We don't do 4-star hotels here. You're going to sleep in somebody's closet kind of thing. I was like, what? Bugs, right? And so, like, he was like, no, we're going to do this, and you're going to be walking, we're going to rent a car, we're going to drive all around the country. And I was like, this is incredible. And so from that moment on, I was just like, you're not going to stop me. Like, I got to go wherever I got to go. And now I'm not even afraid to do it alone, which was, you know, as a woman of color, it's something that's just a little scary. Solo travel.
Oh, yeah, true.
So I commend you for doing that, because that is not at all easy.
Yeah, it isn't. Thank you.
Yes, girl, you deserve all the praise for that. I learned how to, you know, be safer and do solo travel. And now it's like I kind of prefer it most of the time. And, oh, God, like, once you start, it's hard to stop. And so I'm like, I feel like everyone needs this experience. So don't ask me if you want me to tell you to stay home, because I'm not going to do that. But should I go do this 6 months in Korea? Yes. Go live your life, and because you don't know if tomorrow's going to be here, and at least you can say you did it.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to be an actor? Go be an actor. Like, go do it. It takes a long time. So if you usually just the most successful, they've probably been doing it for 20 years already before they even, got a big break. But it's like, do it. Why won't you try? I'm scared of what? And yeah, it's a lot of things to be scared. Do it scared. Like Will Smith said, if you're scared to do it, do it scared then. You want to fly a plane? Well, pilot classes on Groupon, you know what I mean? Oh, wow. Nothing should be stopping you from living the life that you want to live, because you can always start over. You can be 50 and start over. You can be 65 and start over. You haven't gone to college, you want to go. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
What I love is that there are many options right now. I think, definitely more so than in the past. Of course, there'll be obstacles, but as you said,
always.
there are many options that you can do to choose what you want.
And there's obstacles. Oh, we're gonna jump over those. We're gonna work through those, because what kind of testimony doesn't have any obstacles in it?
Right. Exactly.
Who wants to read that story? Who wants to? You don't buy a book because everything works out. You don't watch a movie because everything happens that the character wants to happen. That doesn't make the book or movie worth reading. That doesn't make for a good testimony. I mean, because if everything good happened all the time, then how would you appreciate it? Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I think people live life thinking happiness is a goal, and it's not. Happiness is something that you personally decide to attain, and you decide to feel and react this way, because things are going to happen all the time, especially when you decide to pursue faith. You think it's going to, I believe in Jesus now, so everything's going to be great. No. That's when things seem harder, because not only are you battling the world, but you're battling yourself and the desires and the things that you want to do and the things that you want to have. And so it's like, that's making your story, at the end of the day, in the big book, when they start going through everything, that is your story. And I want my story to be really cool to read. What about you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, it's true. Through traveling, I have had some hard things happen, right? And sometimes I would feel like giving up, but I have learned that it has led me in different directions. Like, I wanted to stay in the US because I was there for a little time, and I wanted to stay longer, and that didn't happen. The door was shut in my face, like so tight. But then I started thinking about other things. Like, I literally prayed because I wanted to travel some more. And I was like, but I always wanted to go to Spain. I always wanted to go to Europe. I just didn't think it would be possible, right? I didn't have the money. But then I found out from a friend that this program I'm doing right now, you can get paid while you're traveling. It's not a lot, but it can take care of your expenses, right? So all that to say is that, definitely I can see where my story will hopefully inspire people, because it's been like up and down.
Yeah. What's your most interesting, or like your most stressful travel story that you have?
Well, I wasn't ready to share this, but the most stressful is when I went to the US and I was denied entry because they didn't think I had enough money, and they sent me back home, and it was just so stressful. Because it was like they were just criticizing and looking down on me and making me feel like nothing really. I felt so terrible because I had a dream. I wanted to be a missionary. I left my job because I was studying dental surgery, but I didn't. I graduated and I didn't feel led in that area. So I really wanted to be a missionary, right? And I wanted to go to the US to start the training for that. And it just didn't happen. I just didn't have enough money. So that broke me, because I was just like, God, I wanted to do this for you. Why didn't you make it happen? I literally expected him to make it happen. But now that I'm here, I'm just realizing that there are other ways to be a missionary. There are other ways to share the work of the work of God or the glory of God through your works, like through your excellence. And that's what I'm trying to do, like doing online stuff, just showing people representation like me as a Black woman, as a Jamaican, you know, that I'm here, I'm traveling. If this is something you want to do, then you can do it. And I'm trying to show people how, like if they want to be an actress. So that's why I'm happy that you're here. Or if they want to work, or if they want to take a vacation, whatever it is, you don't have to be afraid because the opportunities are there. And if one door shuts, there are other doors, really. And I've learned that personally.
Yeah. I mean, if a door shuts, there's windows.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, you climb through a window. I mean, because it's just, this world was given to us, and it wasn't given to us to separate ourselves from each other. It was given to us, you know, to bring us closer together. And when something happens, and I say this all the time, I have so many mottos, girl. When you come to an obstacle like that, especially a really big one that you went through, I always say that is not meant to discourage you. It is meant to direct you, because it's like a maze. Sometimes the path that you're supposed to be on, that you're given, divinely given. People are thinking it's going to be like this, and it's going to be just uphill. Yeah. But that's not how it is. It's like this, and then it's like this, and it's like this, and it's like this, and like this, and to get you to where you need to go. Sometimes it's lateral, sometimes it is uphill, sometimes it's downhill. And the thing is that when you hit opposition, it's meant to direct you. And so you're exactly where you need to be, because that was the direction that you were supposed to be going. And had you try to fight and break down the walls and climb up the walls, then we wouldn't be walking in or towards your purpose, you know? Yeah. And that's really hard sometimes to accept, because there's things that we want so bad. Like it's just sitting on our heart, you know, this desire to have, you know, this thing or this event. And it may not always be meant for us. And you always meant for something greater than you even thought you could plan for yourself. True. And sometimes you being in a place, in a time, can have a huge impact on someone else. It's not even for you sometimes. You know what I mean? Just the fact that you went through something, and then maybe you shared this experience like you're doing with me on here, or with someone you meet, or just anything like that. Like, or you didn't make it, you're at the airport and you talk to a woman who may not want to continue to see the next day. And you never know that the conversation that you have with this person changed the direction that they were going in their lives. And so it's just like so much happens behind it, just like on set. So much is happening behind the scenes that you can't see. Yeah, I'm sure. And so we have to kind of live in the vein of this, just like, and it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be disappointed, it's okay to not be okay, and to mourn, you know, things. But then we have to like pick ourselves back up and keep moving, because as long as you're blessed to see another day, that means your duty, you know, and it's to show gratefulness for the life that you have now. Yeah, is to live it, because why would we have this gift if we weren't supposed to be using it and living it to its fullest? And that for someone like me who has like medical condition, they're like, what? I didn't know that. Like, I didn't want you to, because if it's meant for me to be gone tomorrow, like I've had my time to mourn, but if it's meant for me to be gone tomorrow or 20 years or 50 years from now, I don't know. But I don't want to sit here and live like something's wrong with me every day, you know, because, and for everything else, I'm relatively healthy. And so I might as well live, you know, my life now. And I say it like it's easy. It ain't easy. It's not easy to do that, because there's times where you just want to quit. I don't want to act anymore, because you were married to an outcome. You know, we think that to be successful, things need to look a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe I need an Oscar. I want my Oscar. Or maybe I need to be doing this kind of show, working with this director or these actors. And as you grow forward to be able to accept this, you know, but that's part of faith. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You just got to do it. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. For anyone like who is interested in acting or in the creative field, what would you recommend for them, or any resource, you know, if they're just starting or whatever?
I actually create an organization just for these kind of questions and things like this based in my community called Dallas Actors of Color. And so this is like one of the number one questions that we get is how, when, where, who. And honestly, if you want to begin acting, the main thing, and no matter what country you're in, no matter where you are, you need to be educated on what it is you need to do. If you're going to be a doctor, you don't just show up at a clinic, right? You go to school and you train. And there's so many different really good schools for actors just all over the world. And you start taking classes. Because the one thing, and maybe you decide you just want to do it as a hobby. The main thing that you want to do is be good at what you want to do. And to be good, you need to be building that skill. And to be building that skill, you need to be learning about it. To be learning about it, you can go to school, go to class, read books. Some people can't afford to go to classes. YouTube University will teach you everything you need to know as well until you're able to afford, you know, that, because being an actor, being a creative in general is a huge investment in yourself. It is not cheap. And I have to it's something I need to really stress. You're going to have hungry nights because, especially if you don't have a significant other or any other form of income, which I do suggest you have another form of income to supplement this life, because when you start, you're often working without pay or for very, very little pay. And you're gonna have to pay for classes, you're gonna have to pay for headshots, because you need to have to be good quality. You can't just jump in and have your cousin, you know, Ray, take your headshots. No, you have to have, you know, industry quality headshots to be taken seriously. I think the first thing people think they need to have when they become an actor is an agent. And yeah, that's not the first thing. It's like this is the top of the stairs when you get an agent. And you're down here and you're trying to jump up here instead of taking the steps to get there.
Okay.
And having an agent doesn't change your life as an actor. And I think people think like they treat representatives kind of like God. Sometimes it's really scary. Like, oh, when I have this, all of my dreams will come true. They'll provide for me everything that I need. And they don't. They work just as hard for you as you do. And sometimes less, depending on who your agent is. So an agent wants to work for someone who's going to get the money because that's how they get paid. Yeah. So being an actor, you have to avoid scams. Any creative, you have to avoid the scams. People are going to exploit your dream. Mm-hmm. You want to train, and you want to train at a legitimate location. Once you're training, usually through these relationships you'll build through your instructor and through the other students who are there, you'll be provided more opportunities to like maybe do some short films or to do something small. And then maybe, you know, you'll learn about, because utilize your resources. So when you are in class and you have these actors here, ask them about their agents. Who are you with? How are they? Like, do an interview process like you're doing now. Like you want to keep always doing your own research. Don't expect to just have someone tell you how it is, because that's their experience. And your experience is unique, not just because you're a beautiful woman of color, but because you're from Jamaica. That's an experience that I don't have. Or because you're in Spain. That's an experience someone else doesn't have. So it's just like people who are sharing similar experience you want to pull from. But you also want to utilize your resources and to see what works for other people so that you can create your own, you know, plan of action. And so find out, do your research, get on Google. That's one thing I have. It's so frustrating when people ask me questions and I tell them, and instead of taking that information and say, oh, I'm going to research and dig deep and dive into this and see what else I can find. They'll just be like, keep asking more questions. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They'll be like, oh, where can I submit for auditions? And I'll tell them, well, if you're in the US, actorsaccess.com is a great place to have a profile in order to submit for auditions. Okay, well, when I get on there, like, what do I have to do? Well, you create a profile, you upload your pictures. Okay, well, what kind of pictures do I need to have on there? And like, is it something I need to pay for? When easily they can be like, okay, Actors Access, I'm going to go do some research on that. And then they could have answered their questions. And then when you hit a wall is when you come back to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a pet peeve, but I still try to do my best and be patient. But that's once you have classes, once you've gotten good at what you like, once you've gone and you've done all the research, then you can start, working. You don't need an agent to start working. Okay. It's who you know, and it's all about networking. So usually if you're in class, someone's making or filming, or they know someone who is, and now they put you two in touch, and it's all about making friends. It's all about building a tribe and a network. And once you do that and work a little bit and you have something to show for it, like, copies of your work, then you can start searching for agents, and you're going to hear a lot of no's. This industry is full of so much rejection. It's not for everyone, because a lot of people can't take the rejection. We get more rejection a year than more people do in their entire lives. You have no idea how much I've heard no. So much. Yeah. It used to be so discouraging. I'm like, why am I doing this? I quit. This sucks. Like, nobody wants me, because as an actor, as an artist, singer, painter, whatever, you often feel that your worth is tied and your value is tied into your work. Yeah. If nobody is hiring you for your work, then you feel that you have no value often. And that's a fallacy. That's incorrect. But it's really hard not to do that. And so it's definitely something that you need to be working on internally and following the plan that's set out for you. But you're gonna have to have some thick skin. Not everybody's nice that does this, or kind, or helpful. And once you have an agent, you still need to work hard. That's not your time to sit back and relax. You have to work even harder once you have an agent, because you need to keep working to prove to them, because it's a collaboration, it's a partnership. They're working with you, for you, because they think you're gonna make them money. So you have to it's like a business. You have to keep showing them I'm profitable, so that they can continue to want to work with you. And so you have to keep working. And once you get an agent, you can start getting considered for more important roles, for larger roles like The Chosen, for TV shows and movies and things like this. And then once all that starts to happen, and honestly, it could take several years for you to be like working more consistently. And once it happens, then you can start to grow. You can, I can get a manager. I can get multiple agents. I can have an agent in Atlanta, an agent in LA, an agent in London, an agent in Spain.
I didn't know about multiple agents.
Oh, yeah. I think that's a thing that people don't admit. People think that you just have one agent. You usually have one manager, and there's a difference between the two, and a lot of people don't understand that. Allergies. An agent and a manager are very different. They often get kind of meshed in Europe, and so people are really confused. But it's kind of something that we create in the States, and so it's like, well, we're telling you how it is. Listen to us. So an agent books you or gets you in the room. So they have relationships with casting directors who are requested by productions to find actors. Like, okay, I'm making a movie. I'm going to call you and I'm going to say, hey, I need a Black actress between the ages of 20 and 35. I needed options. Then you are going to call an agent and be like, hey, send me your actresses between 20 and 35 because we have this casting. They send it to casting. Casting says, They look at your clips and your pictures and they say, okay, I want April, I want Amber, I want Ashley. I want them to send me an audition or come and do an audition with this little sample of the material. You do the audition, they send, you know, the casting director wants you to win. They don't care who wins. They want us all to win. So they'll go through, make sure you have it right. They'll send that to me, the production, and I have to say, I like April and I like Amber. Let me see those two again.
Okay.
You know, then you do it again. You either come in person or you send another tape, and then say, okay, I want April. April's going to do it. All right, she's booked. And then you book the job. So the agent is the one who facilitates your relationship with the casting director. A manager's job is more inclusive. Their job is to help you form and follow a career path, like what's best for you. So their job is to help you grow and be the best, most successful actor you can be. So their job goes beyond facilitating a relationship with casting directors. They are telling you, hey, the pictures that you have are awful. You need to get more photos, better photos. Your reel, you know, the like sample clip of your videos, terrible. We need to, or it's not terrible. You need to rearrange it to like better market. They tell you how to be the best actor you can be, to be working as much as you can. They also help you manage your relationships between agents. You don't have an agent in a certain market. They'd be like, hey, I have a really great relationship with this agent. I'm going to put you in contact with them. And then you can get a new agent that way. Now you can work more in this location. Often managers have really close relationships with production companies, so they can skip that part of having to go through casting, and then you can get seen directly by production. They also can help you. You have live appearances, you have, you know, major events or commercials. They are the ones that help facilitate like the direction you're heading in your career. So often my manager would be like, someone wants to work with me, or a job wants me to film, and she's like, I don't think that's going to be good for the path that you're trying to go on in your career.
Okay.
That's not going to help you get to where you want to go, because once you do a job like this, you'll keep doing jobs like this and you'll never be able to go further.
Yeah. Because
they'll always see you as this.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that is like typecasting. Is that the word?
Yeah, you can easily get it. You know, you've seen movies of the guy who plays the bad guy. He is always the bad guy after that.
Yes.
Like, yes. Right?
Yes.
It's very similar. And so she'll be like, nope, not doing that. Your agent is just like, you're working. Here's another job like that I got you an audition for. Your manager's like, that's not going to be conducive of where you're wanting to go in your career. And I don't advise that you do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like your advisor.
Right, yeah.
It's definitely a more inclusive job. And I recently just got a manager, because usually you have to reach a certain point in your career for them to be really valuable to you, because they get paid off everything you do. Mm-hmm. And if you're not doing anything, you know, like you're giving all your money away before you even see it. So I recently just signed with Zero Gravity Management with Aona McLean. And so it's basically going to take your career just a step further. And I just pray every day, because this is not an easy thing to do. And especially if you want to do it so badly. Mm-hmm. And it requires a lot of faith. And all you want to do is just be good at what you love and do it for a living. And that's really all that most of us want. Like people get famous like as like a, not a consequence, but it's just like as a result sometimes. Mm-hmm. But there are plenty of actors who are extremely happy that you don't even know their name. They're just happy to be able to do, they maybe have a smaller role in a TV show, you have no idea. They're able to go to work every day, you know? Yeah. And that's what they want to do. Like for me, I wanted to be a dentist, so it's funny that you said that for a while. And it was like, imagine if I went to be a dentist and I'd be happy to go into the clinic every day and do my job. That's all you want to do. As an actor, that's 99.9% of us don't even care about fame. We just want to be able to survive, pay our bills, live a normal, happy life, and be able to do what we enjoy to do, doing on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. That's it.
It makes sense.
Sometimes you get famous. Yeah.
But it's not the only goal, because
that's usually not a goal at all, because with that comes a loss of privacy and things like that. But I think the goal is just to be working consistently, doing what you enjoy doing with your life. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you get really successful at, because you're really good at your job, or you're really beautiful, or for whatever reason, people start to take notice, and now you become a face, or a household name or something like this. But that's not everyone. Think about all the NBA players that you don't know their names, or all the football players that you have no idea what their names are, but they're here playing in the championships or whatever. And it's just like, they're happy because they're living their dream. It's not a big deal if you know them or not. It's just that they've worked so hard to get here, and they get to do it every day. Like, whew, imagine, right?
Yeah, this is taking me so much into that world. And what I see is that you have the talent, like you've worked to get the skills for acting, but you also need to get the things around. I'm sorry, I don't know the term, but like the agent, the manager. So the different.
Yeah, your representatives.
Right. To make it work so that you are actually doing it successfully.
Yes. And that none of that is easy. None of that is easy, and all of it requires a level of investment, because like you said, why would you do anything mediocre? You don't want to do anything mediocre, but it's a huge investment, because you have to have equipment, because when you start acting, you don't have anything. Even after you start learning, which you never stop doing, I still take classes, I still get coached. You're gonna have to get your pictures taken all the time, because you change, you age, your hair grows, you have to look current all the time. So you have to get your pictures done, and then you have to have like a little sample of your work video, and so much, and you have to keep doing it often that it costs some money. You have to self-tape your auditions. If you don't have anything to do in your house, you have to go to someone who provides the service for you. And it's just classes, coaching, self-tape. It's so expensive. And so as an actor, you'll always realize, you'll come to learn an actor is never just an actor. It's very rare for an actor to just be an actor. Usually they're like a director, also a photographer, a writer, maybe they're a lawyer. Like, we're always something else, because we've had to learn how to invest in ourselves and provide our own services. So I learned how to be a photographer as an actor. Because I was like, these headshots are really expensive, and I have to do them every 6 months, and I'm not making that much money. And I realized that there's other people like me who don't have that much money, who really want to do this. And I was like, well, maybe if I teach myself how to take, good, decent pictures, I can provide a service, very affordable or free for some people, service that can get them good quality headshots that will get them working now, that they don't have to spend a paycheck to do. That was my inspiration, was like, I want to help people, and also myself in the process, by learning how to do something. And I did. And then the same thing with my videos. Like, I had to learn how to edit my own photos, because they wouldn't charge you $20, $15 a photo to edit. YouTube University, learn how to edit my photos, and then my videos. I can't pay $40 a minute for someone to edit my videos. And then you have to edit them every few months. That's ridiculous. Learned how to do that myself. Self-tapes, I had to buy lights, I had to buy cameras, I had to buy background, I had to buy tripods, and then you have to it's like so much that once you invest in it, now you have it, and then you're able to provide yourself and invest in yourself, and then have that that resource of your own. And now I can become a resource for others. So you're like, Amber, I need to self-tape. Okay, well, come on over, and then I'll read for you, and then we'll record your self-tape here. And it's a tribal thing. This industry, being an artist, being a creative, it's a tribal industry.
And I guess
have to have a tribe.
Yeah, and I guess that's one of the main reasons why you have your foundation, the Dallas Actors of Color, so that you can provide that tribe for people that need it, right?
Yes, exactly. I realized that when I came to the industry, I was being exploited. I hit every scam possible. And then, I wasn't even getting anywhere near what I needed, or anywhere near quality. And I was like, how can I save other people from making the same mistake? Make your own mistakes, make new ones. Don't make the same ones I made. I made them for both of us. And so I created this organization where we can, first of all, reform the community because I would notice I would go to auditions and, you know, the other actors would be like, oh my God, hey girl, they'd hug and it literally, it changes the energy that you go into the room when you have this love and this kind of happiness and joy in your heart. And then I'd just be sitting there and maybe the other Black girl would just be like, hello. And then sizing each other up or whatever like that, because it's always so few spots for us in comparison to everyone else. And then I was like, I don't like that. I want to feel like family when I go in there. I want to feel like when you win, I win too. And to do that, it's kind of like you have to heal the community, and that's what I wanted to do. And so it started off with just a few of us, and now it's like, I don't know, 1,300 people in the group. And it's kind of difficult to manage from here, but you know, we have events normally every year. Corona kind of screwed that up, but we'd have events, we'd have things where you can come, and we're a place for resources where you can pull from others, like, hey, I really need someone to help with this, or how do I do this, or just a mentor. I need a mentor that I could just lean on when things get hard. And it's just like, that's what we want to do. We want to provide this foundation of support for people that look like us. And it goes beyond that, because it's all people of color that we've opened our arms to. And it makes me feel good, because even when I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore, it's too much work and I'm not getting a response, it seems like God knows I say that. Or knows that I'm going to say that, because I'll get a message like not even 10 minutes afterwards from somebody randomly like, hey Amber, I just want to tell you that I'm really appreciative that you provided this safe space for us to come and to get started, and so that we could hit the ground running, you know, in this very difficult career choice that we've chosen, that we love so much. And so I really appreciate you. And I'm like, I guess I won't close it down. Like, it's just that one person. If it's just helping one person,
yeah,
then it makes it all worth it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I should know. It's been so much fire, like so many gems being dropped in this interview, and I appreciate it. So we're gonna try to land the plane on, if you could describe travel or long-term travel in one word, like what would you say and why?
That's a really interesting question. And maybe I'll have to just stick with what I know best, and that's just faith.
Oh wow.
You're gonna need a lot of it in yourself, and you're gonna need a lot of it in others.
Yeah.
You know, when you decide to take the road less traveled, jump on a plane and go somewhere, leave the house and not sure what you're gonna do next. So you just have to have faith that it's gonna come to you, and that, you know, that the people around you want what's best for you, and just like live your life to the fullest. I think a long-term travel, you definitely need faith.
Yeah, wow, that's so cool. I've never heard that word.
Because that's what's required to do it. I think that's just your first step. And that's what's going to get you out of the house. It's going to get you packing your bags, and it's going to get you on the plane, because you have no idea what to expect when you get there. You plan for the best, but you have no idea what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And so that's going to be like the best tool in your toolbox that you're going to have, is just faith, that you are ready for this next adventure in your life, no matter how small, no matter who you come across. And so you just kind of get out there, you jump in, and you see what happens.
And wow, I love it. Like, yeah, I think as you said, like being Tamar, I don't know. Just going back to the role of you saying that everyone needs a friend like Tamar, but I personally see you as being like that friend like Tamar, just wanting the best for people. So yeah, it's incredible. Like, even taking the time now and going into so much detail in this interview with helping people who want to act or to travel. It's just been incredible.
Thank you. I take that as a big compliment, because she's pretty incredible. She's a pretty incredible person. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I mean, no purpose of the journey if you're not, you know, really sharing that, you know, with others.
Yeah.
So that they can better manage their own journey.
Right. Yeah, and even just to help with like people so that they don't make the same mistakes that you've made or they don't fall into the same traps. Because I think I can understand in acting how people can scam you or just try to take advantage of you.
Always.
Yeah.
There's so much, you have to always be on the lookout for, and it really helps when you have someone there. It's like hold your hand, kind of like when you learn to ride a bike, or skate or whatever, and you have that person there with you, like you can do it, and you don't realize that they've let you go, and you started doing it on your own. And then one day when you grow up, it's going to be your job for someone else. It's to like, you can do it, and then you let them go off into the world. My grandpa called them ladder holders. As a person up the ladder, it can get a little shaky, but if you have someone there holding it firmly, you have a lot more confidence to ascend.
Yeah, that's so true. We need community always. In anything, we need community.
Absolutely.
How may we connect with you?
Well, listen, I'm on like 99% of social media platforms. So you can I always say IG. I'm usually checking that one, or at least on there the most. You're more than welcome to follow me. Join the freak show, all the madness, all the really cool things I love to share on there. And yeah, that's my favorite place. I have a website as well. It's just my name, ambershannawilliams.com. And hopefully something really beautiful will come one of these days, and I'll be able to share that with you guys.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, I'm following you right now, and I definitely love to see your stories, the journey that you're on, and just, it's been incredible.
Like tag me and stuff if you want me to see it, because if not, then I might miss it. But just keep persistent at it. We're just regular people. We're just regular. Look, we have the same. We might be related. We're just regular people like everyone else. So we get busy and things like that, but we try our best to be available and to be responding to those who just kind of want to know what's going on.
Yeah. And we have the same initials, like AW and Williams. So cool.
You never know. We might be.
That would be cool. That would be so cool. So what are your plans, and what are the plans you think God has for you?
I want it to be an adventure, if that makes any sense. And I kind of don't want to know until it's time to know. And it sounds weird to say it out loud. You don't want to know what's going to happen, so you can prepare. But I think that I just love the surprise sometimes of how much better that the plan was than I could have ever imagined for myself. I'm in Spain, where I work more since moving here than I did living in the States, which is something I can talk about another day. But it's just like, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, I would have laughed in your face. Like, what am I going to do there? And that was one of the plans that I definitely couldn't have guessed or wouldn't have wanted or asked for at the time, because I thought things were going so well for me then. So it's like, I actually like it when it's a bit of mystery in life. And so I'm like, bring it on. All that I ask is that you hold the handlebars for me, Lord, like keep me steady while I'm riding on this path that you put me on. And as long as that's happening, I'm okay with wherever that's leading me.
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense, because that you're doing this now, but you don't know what it's going to take you to in the future.
You have no idea.
Yeah.
None. And so it's just like, you might as well just enjoy the ride.
Yeah. Sure.
and just appreciate that you're alive, seeing another day, and to just to even have the opportunity to see what's next.
Yeah. And be able to impact people too, because I know people are really touched by you and just seeing you and just feeling represented, and it's amazing.
Well, thank you. It's never the plan waking up, but it's like, if anybody can get anything from my existence on being here, I feel like I've lived a purposeful life. And that's like one of the purposes of being here, is that you being alive has impacted someone else in a positive way.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Definitely. All right. So thank you, Amber. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you for taking the time to watch. I'm sure you got so many gems from what she said. And yeah, if you want to connect with her, definitely go and follow her on IG, see what she's doing, say hi through tags or whatever, but comment. Yeah,
Yes.
but yeah, we appreciate
I
you.
love comments.
Yeah.
I love pictures. I love all that stuff. So by all means, I try my best to respond. So thank you so much for having me here. Thank you for everyone watching. Thank you for anyone that's following me and supporting me on this journey. I really appreciate you all.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, perfect. So we appreciate you. So thank you all so much. I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.